recording. As required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on November 5th, 2020 by publication in the Express Times and by posting of said notice in the municipal building on the same date. Mayor Barsney?
Here.
Mr. Beam?
Here.
Mr. Marqueta?
Here.
Ms. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Perone?
Here.
Mr. Finelli is excused, and I understand that at least for a time, Mike Lavery is substituted by Bill Pandos. Hi, Bill.
How you doing, Bill? Welcome. Okay. I'd like to start tonight. We'll welcome committee person, newly elected committee person, Brian Baylor. He's on, I see, for tonight's meeting, and welcome you aboard, Brian. Good luck with everything. Looking forward to working with you. And I know I told you on the phone, but I say it publicly. I'm glad to see somebody young finally getting on board a little bit. So,
Hey.
so welcome. Anybody else want to say anything?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Brian.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your support.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome aboard, Brian.
Thanks, Brad. Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking for someone to make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 15th meeting. Anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
You want a second?
Second.
I'll second. Any corrections, comments? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Someone want to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for November and the November bill list?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Anybody have any items you want pulled or any questions or comments on it?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Okay, looking for a motion for the tax collector's tax and sewer reports for November 20th to accept them. Anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Anybody have any questions, comments, need anything pulled on those two items?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Looking for a motion for the consent agenda to accept the reports of the police department, the Department of Public Works, the township clerk, and the court report for October and November for this clerk's report. I'll make the motion to accept them. Anybody else want a second?
I'll second.
Anybody have any questions, comments, need any items pulled out of those four reports?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Looking for a resolution to adopt resolution number 8520, which is the budget transferring $15,000 from the legal operating expenses to $10,000 of that to the administrative operating expenses and $5,000 to the police operating expenses. Also, resolution 8620, which is that's just ours to accept the money from the emergency fund grant for the COVID-19 pandemic. Correct, Lisa?
That's correct.
Anybody want to make the motion to adopt
Bob,
those two
is it
resolutions?
appropriate to add 8720, the liquor license? I sent that out very late today. This is our last liquor license, Bondi Bar.
Yeah, I'll just do it separate now that I went this way, so I'll
Okay.
just do that one. Okay. So anybody want to make the motion for 8520, 8620? That's the budget transfer and the CARES Act resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Anybody have any questions or comments on those two? They're pretty much housekeeping resolutions, so. Okay, roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 8720. That's issuing the liquor license to the Bondi Bar, correct?
Correct.
somebody
They
tell
still
me-
will not be able to operate because they have other hoops to jump through with the state, but we have to do this part.
Yeah.
Explain to
I'll
me,
make a-
what's the bondi bar?
Okay, let's do the second, Frank, then I'll explain it. We're talking
All right.
about. it.
All right, no problem.
You seconding it, Frank?
Yeah, I'm seconding.
Okay, what's your?
I'm assuming it's a good bar.
That's the license out by Chamois Shine. It was the Sahara and at one time the almond tree. The building's pretty much in disrepair out by the Chamois Shine car wash.
And they're gonna make that into a restaurant?
No, it's just a renewal of their liquor license.
Oh, even though they're not using it.
Not using it,
All right.
keeping it active.
Anybody else have any questions, comments on it?
No.
That's the same deal as we did with the other one, right? That before they can open it, they'd have to do those, I'm basically clean the property up. It's inoperable the way it is, so I'm not even worried about that one. They gotta do
Correct.
something. So, okay, roll call.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
yes,
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Prone?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. We open a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 113, 2020. That's amending the chapter 16 zoning for renewable energy facilities. Is this the one for the
Allowing it on the front of the house.
front of the houses, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So I made the motion to open public hearing. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Frank, you want to let anybody from the public who wants to come in, make any comments or ask
Yeah,
any
just
questions?
to let everybody know also, it's, there was an amendment to the zoning ordinance to allow people to put, right now you're restricted from putting solar panels on the front of your house. So this is amending that to make that allowable. So if you have, anybody have any comment, just let me know. I don't see anybody wanting to comment. Nothing, Brian? Now's
No,
your chance.
no, I'm good with that.
All right.
I'll make a
okay.
motion to close the public hearing. Anybody want a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'll make a motion, we open public hearing on ordinance number 115, 2020, creating a new chapter 27 to regulate the application of pesticide. You want to explain that one? Well, somebody want a second, please?
Sorry, Bob, we actually have to do a motion to adopt 113 first, if we could.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I always do that.
Yeah, just before you do that, just want to make note, there's another person on the call, on the meeting, with the phone number, and I asked them to unmute and there's no response. So
Okay.
just want on record that we're trying to get them the ability
Okay.
to say
I'll
something.
make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 113, 2020, amending chapter 16, the zoning section for renewable energy facilities. Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Any further questions or comments on it? Roll call.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
yes,
Mr. Marqueta?
No,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Prone?
yes.
I'll make a motion that we open public hearing ordinance number 115, 2020, creating a new chapter 27 to regulate the application of pesticides. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Frank, you want to talk about that a little bit since that was
Yeah.
yours?
So this gives the township the ability to monitor the pesticides that are being applied to farms in the town. What this is letting anybody that's farming a particular piece of property that the township owns, or any property in the town, they have to file within 7 days the type of pesticide that they're using. And the plan is for us to put that on our website so that everybody knows, they can look it up and see what's being applied in the vicinity of their homes. That's what it is.
Okay, Frank, you want to open it up to the public in case anybody wants to have any questions, make any comments about it?
Do we have to vote? We voted for opening it up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I've unmuted the telephone number and Brian. Those are the only people. And,
Sounds good, Frank.
all right, you're good? No questions?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we close public hearing on it. Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 115, 2020, creating the new chapter regarding pesticides. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
yes,
And Mr. Peron?
Yes.
Okay. Was that just for the adoption or was that the close? That was the adoption, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion for open public hearing on second reading of ordinance number 116-2020 regarding capital ordinance for aprons and e-ticketing. Lisa, you want to give a brief description of that before?
Both of these items were approved and budgeted for, but we have to do this capital ordinance in order to actually pay those bills. So it's housekeeping, really.
Okay, anybody want a second?
second,
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Okay, so we're opening it up for public hearing. Frank, you want to open it up?
Opening it up. Once again, Brian and the telephone number.
We're losing our followers. We're getting boring.
oh, we're that good, they don't need
I
to
was gonna say
follow
that.
us.
Yeah. All right, doesn't look like we have any comments.
I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing on ordinance number 116-2020. Anybody want a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
aye,
Aye.
I'll make a motion. We adopt ordinance number 116-2020. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Have any other comments on it? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
yes,
Mr. Peron?
Yes.
Okay, Lisa, am I reading this right? Number 116-2020 will off until next meeting, correct?
Yes, so if you guys recall, we did introduce this at the last meeting. Normally it would be up for public hearing tonight, but I asked Mike Lavery to add the language to, at the same time, incorporate it into our code. So he's done that, but it wasn't in time to publish for this meeting, so we'll do it in December.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We open public comment for a second reading on ordinance number 118-2020 regarding engine braking. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Okay. This is the ordinance that was last month. The trucks 519-22 using their Jake brakes and the engine brakes, creating a loud noise and stuff, making basically illegal in the township. So that's what it's about. So Frank, you want to?
Hey, Bob,
Pardon?
did we introduce this last month? I thought we just discussed it, and then I thought Mike was going to create.
No, I thought we did. I thought I made the motion to, well, where's the minutes?
Yeah, I was just going to go
Oh,
through.
yeah, take a look at the minutes.
Yeah, I could be just completely.
Yeah, I think what happened was we did go into executive to discuss it briefly, Brad, and I believe we did come back in.
I don't see it on
I
here.
don't see it on the agenda from last meeting.
Oh, wait, there it is.
It wasn't on the
Introduction. No,
agenda,
it's-
but if you look at the meeting
It is.
minutes, it's out there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the minutes. All right, because that's where I got confused, because I remember we went in to a second executive to talk about it,
Yeah.
and then and that's when we, all right.
So what, Bob, just to clarify, what roads does this take
Well, I
into
think we
account?
did, I think we did it for all road township. It's on that page. Just made them basically illegal
Yeah,
on
because
all
originally-
township and county roads.
Yeah, originally it wasn't that way, and then we said, why don't we just do it everywhere in town?
Yes, yeah.
So there's Route 2020, is Route 22, is that in our jurisdiction?
Yes,
Think so.
the westbound lanes are.
Yeah,
There you go, Brian, so Brian was
Yeah,
asking about that.
West,
that was going to be my question. That's great. 'Cause
yeah,
20
westbound lanes are Greenwich.
Mhm.
Well, most of them. I think the fast lane might be, but we have jurisdiction.
Actually, Bob, I don't think that's check with Chief Hummer. We only have from the shoulder to the curb.
Yeah, I'm
I always
on
thought
Route-
the slow lane.
No,
I always thought the slow. No matter,
we
we
have
have overlapping jurisdiction. We have the attorney on clarify for us, but we have overlapping jurisdiction on it anyway. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's good to
Okay.
know. All right.
So we're still opening up to the public, right? We didn't do that yet, right?
Yep, everybody's unmuted. Oh,
Okay.
there's 2 more people wanting to join. Hold on. There's 2 more people joining right now. I don't know if you want to explain.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll wait for him.
Gary Hill, it looks like, and and one that says resident.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, I don't think of it. So I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing on ordinance 118-2020 regarding the engine brake. Anybody want a second?
Second,
Anybody have any other questions, comments on it? Roll call.
I think that was the close. Bob, you want to do an all in favor?
And all in favor? Yeah. Anybody all in favor of closing? Aye.
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 I make a motion. We adopt ordinance 118-2020. Anybody want a second?
Second,
Roll call.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes,
Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Okay, we have the introduction of 119-2020. It's the acquisition of stormwater easement, block 40, lot 1. That's regarding the affordable housing project on Voorhees Road and 173. I think it's an eminent domain issue. We're trying to take the ownership of that stormwater easement. So anybody want to make the motion to introduce ordinance number 119-2020?
I'll make the motion to introduce.
Anybody want a second?
second,
Anybody have any questions, comments, or anything? Frank, you want to say anything about it, or?
No, this is
Nothing.
this is the second half of the affordable housing project that was moved over to the property on 173. And part of the process, or where we're looking to build the other units, we don't have, there's an easement that's going through it, which is preventing us from moving forward. And it looks like we're at an impasse with the owner of the easement. So this is just pushing it along and having us try to resolve that issue.
Okay.
That's it.
Anybody have any other questions or comments on it?
no,
Okay, roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
No.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
yes,
Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Okay, the RMC bids, Lisa, you have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, just briefly, I'm happy to report that we did get 4 proposals in today, which were opened at 4 p.m. They all appear to have provided all the required documents, and Brad and I are going to, rather than try to push this for tonight, Brad and I are going to both review those in more depth and possibly conduct interviews and hopefully have a recommendation to the TC for the December meeting.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on it?
mm-mm.
Okay. 2020 best practices, you want to make a comment on that too, Lisa?
Sure. The long and the short of it is that we have to submit it, and I have to certify that the governing body will have it to review at a meeting. I don't, I ask Bill if he wants to weigh in on this. I don't even think we need a motion to accept the best practices. They've been submitted. The good news is that you get no aid withheld if you have at least a score of 16, and we have 22. So we did very well again this year. Implemented what we needed to, and it was great to work with Karen on this year. So
I'm not sure if we need a motion, but Mike will be on in a couple of minutes and he can for sure answer that one.
okay, I don't think we do. Yeah, I just have to. We have to acknowledge that you guys got to review it. So
Okay. Well, thanks. It was a good job, I guess, by everybody. I guess you and Karen did most of the work, right? I
yeah,
guess,
all good.
yeah. No? Who else did the work?
No,
Uh,
yeah, I said, yeah,
okay.
pass on Brad this year. He got lucky.
Okay. Paul, you, next item, the DPW new hires, do you and Joe want to?
Okay, is Joe on?
He was.
There's two Joe Mexis. Will the real one stand up? I don't know. There's 2 of them on. Joe, and there's no, it doesn't
I'll text him. Maybe he stepped away.
show audio on his, like I can't even ask him to
It's
unmute.
pretty easy. John Schmidt, who is a
wait.
part-timer here.
Paul, 1 second. I'm wondering if the phone number is Joe. Let me see, let me unmute it. Joe, is that you on the phone?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
How you doing, Joe?
Hello, how's everybody?
Good,
Good,
good. We're
you?
talking about the new hires, so between you and Paul, I guess you two can feed off one another and.
No, you go ahead and tell him, Joe.
Okay. The choice is John Schmidt. He's already employed by the town as one of the yearly part-timers. He has got his permit for his CDL. And a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, he goes to take the driver's test. And pending that, I would like to see him hired with it pending that he gets his driver's license, his CDL driver's license. Once he has that, I'll notify everybody that he can go to full-time status if that's fine with the committee.
Okay. I don't have any problem with it. Anybody else?
No, I'm
Bill,
good.
Bill, you don't see any issues with that, do you?
No.
No, I don't. Hopefully he's studied up to do the biggest thing with the CDL test now is driving the truck, which he has no problem. I've been riding with him as a licensed driver. It's doing his pre-trip
Going over the
inspection.
22 inspections, the 22 things in the inspection is the hard part.
Yep, that's the biggest nut to crack.
Yeah. So,
And I met John, I don't know, a few weeks back, maybe a month plus back when we were doing the chipping, the tree chipping, and really nice guy. So see that got him coming on full time.
I did as well, and he was really nice and very helpful.
Yeah, he was real helpful.
okay. So Paul, you want to make a motion to hire John as full-time?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to hire John Schmidt based on the conditions that he gets his CDL to a full-time position.
Anybody want a second?
A second?
Anybody else have any questions or comments further on it? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perone?
Yes.
You want to go to the part-time guy now, Joe?
Yes, the part-time position only had one application, Jason Coulter, John, and that's for winter seasonal help, snow plowing.
Okay. That's not the name that's on the agenda, so, right?
Yes, that's your neighbor on the agenda.
No, well, that's not the name that's on my agenda. That's why I was,
Yeah, Casey Janikowski's on the agenda.
yeah, that's what I have.
No, that was one of the four applicants I got for the full-time position. Jason Coulter, John, is the only part-time position.
Okay.
Mike Lavery is
Okay.
here.
So, Paul, did you make a motion to hire? You want to make a motion to hire? Jim?
It was Jason, what's his last name, Joe?
Coulter, John.
Coulter job?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to hire Jason Coulter job as our part-time seasonal employee.
I'll second. Anybody else have any other comments or questions on it? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perone?
Yes.
Don't go away, Joe. Next up is the quote for the purchase of the backhoe attachment, which, looking at the quote, I don't really know what the attachment is. So what's that for?
That is for the small John Deere tractor that we have, about a little bit bigger than a garden tractor. We had to rent ones in the past to get into our easements out in Greenwich Chase. There's a lot of drains and storm drain right-of-ways between the properties. It'll be less evasive on the property. I use one. I have my own personal one that I use to dig the trenches for the drains out at the new pavilion at Thomas Stewart Park. So it's on a smaller tractor. It It won't tear the ground up. It won't do a lot of damage except for what we're digging on. So it's an attachment to a unit that we already have.
Okay, I was wondering what it was for, because we just got the other backhoe, and I was wondering, okay, I understand what it's for now. Anybody else have any questions on that?
It's an attachment to one of the equipment. It's not a full backhoe.
Yeah, well, I knew that at the price, but I couldn't figure out if we just got a backhoe, why it looks like it's a backhoe attachment. That's what had me confused, so. I'm
Yeah,
good, I understand. I understand
It's
exactly.
where lots of things aren't going to fit.
Yeah, yep, no, I got it. So Paul, you want to make a motion that we
Yep.
authorize the purchase?
I would like to make a motion that we authorize the purchase of the backhoe attachment for the John Deere tractor.
Anybody want a second? I'll second it. Anybody else have any other further questions or comments on it?
And it's through, who are we purchasing it from? Power Place?
That's what it looks like.
I
So
saw.
is it
No,
Power
and you
Place?
had the money in the budget for this, correct?
Correct. It is in the O&E right now.
Yeah.
Some leftover money.
Yeah,
No,
it's not coming. It's not a new expense. It's just out of the operating budget.
no, I meant what vendor?
It is Power Place, Brad.
Power Place, okay.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes,
And Mr. Crone?
Yes. Hey, Bob, before
Yes.
we go to this item, I have an item to add that kind of falls under the hiring.
Yes.
So as you guys recall, we had assistant CFO who took a full-time job. You know, it's a part-time position. He took a full-time job. Karen and I interviewed 3 candidates, and Karen made the offer to Susan. How do you say her last name, Lisa?
Shire. I think it's Shire.
I think it's Shire. So I want to make a motion to authorize the hiring of Susan Shire as part-time assistant CFO for 16 hours a week at $20 an hour.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Anybody have other further questions or comments on it? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes,
And Mr. Crone?
Yes, and I believe I think she's meeting up with Karen perhaps over the
Leave
weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah, and then officially will come on I think Monday.
And just real fast, Bob, I would just like to publicly thank Pam, who came on board in the interim to help us out, and she did a great job, and she was very nice to work with. So tonight was her official last night, and I just want to say thanks, Pam.
Yeah, well, thank you. And, why don't you send her a letter on our behalf, thanking her for it, and, we
Definitely
regret
will.
that she had to leave after such a short time, but.
Yeah.
Okay, while we're on that, I'd like to make a motion tonight, but I'll explain what I'm going to do first. I'd like to at least make a motion to authorize the chief of police to advertise for a class 2 officer for hourly rate of $25 to $30 an hour. We can discuss the number of hours when we do our budgeting for next year, because this won't happen until after the new year. But I'd like for him to be able to start looking for him. This is a class 2 that we spoke about several times for the truck problems in the township, because I know over here on Maple Drive, it's better. It's getting much worse rather rapidly. It's almost pretty much like it is a truck route. And Route 639 is the same way. And Paul, I'm assuming you still have similar issues over on North Main Street.
North and South Main Street, Greenwood Street. It is. I would have to say it's starting to get a little worse. Yes.
I mean, it's not. It is bad over here. I mean, it is
really bad.
And this is not a knock on the police, because I see them here constantly having trucks stop. They can't even get. Sometimes I see them with 2 trucks stopped, and the third and fourth one that goes by while they're dealing with the first 2. I mean, it's pretty bad. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the chief to advertise for a class 2 part-time police officer for a pay rate of between $25 and $30 an hour and we'll discuss the number of hours when we're looking at budget and everything in January. So I'll make it as a motion. Does anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Does anybody have any questions or comments they want to make on that, or?
Yeah, I could attest that on my side of town too. It's getting really loud. Brian could tell you too.
Yeah.
We could see, and these warehouses haven't even been not even opened, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they're still building them. So,
Yeah, and
gotta
with
do
COVID,
something now.
the thing what's going with COVID, hopefully we can get some applicants. It's tough really to get the class 2s, but if we can get one, with COVID going around, I mean, we could always utilize them if we end up with a couple officers who are out either in quarantine or actually with the COVID. So anyway, that was my motion, was seconded. So roll call, I guess, Lisa.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
yes.
Mrs. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Peron?
Yes.
Okay. Warehousing issues. Frank, do you have anything on that, or was that from last month?
Yeah, well, this fits into what we were just talking about. So we already know that the truck traffic is getting bad, right? And we don't even have fully functional warehouses that are in the plans to be built. We don't have the one on Strikers Road opened up yet. We don't have the one on Pohat opened up yet. And yet we're already getting issues with trucks. So, I mean, there's nothing we could do. And this might be totally symbolic on our part, but I'm to the point where I want maybe something to come out of the township committee, a letter that, from the mayor that we all endorse, that we could send to all the other towns to say, listen, you got to start looking at your zoning. We have enough warehousing in this area. We're not supporting any more warehousing coming here, just to make them aware that Greenwich is against it. Like I said, mostly symbolic, but maybe it'll raise awareness, that one town is standing up. We're the only town that is restricting warehousing.
Well,
like an island,
But actually, that's not true right now. White is coming on hard against it right now. And I do know the newly elected freeholder, Lori Cecil, she has come out against further development of warehousing, and freeholder Kern has pretty much been pretty vocal about it. So there are others. I'm not arguing with them. I'm just saying.
But maybe you misunderstood. I'm not saying people are against it. What I'm saying is there's zoning right now, and that's why White Township is having the problem they're having.
Right.
Our zoning doesn't allow warehousing, so we don't have an issue.
Right.
Towns that have it, they don't fight it until an application comes in. So maybe this will raise awareness so that they can start looking at their zoning. Maybe they want to change their zoning before they get an application. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to do anything, but I think, somebody's got to make a stand because our quality of life around here, we're getting inundated with warehouses.
Yeah.
So I don't know, how does everybody feel about that? Would everybody support a letter coming out of Greenwich, going to all the other towns, stating that they should relook at their zoning and that we were.
Frank, give me a month. Let me see if I can talk to maybe Freeholder Kern or something like that. I do know they've had some traffic committee meetings and things on it, and I haven't participated. I don't think anybody has. So before we do that, maybe we should look into it. Maybe start participating in one of those couple of those meetings.
Yep, that's
Let
right.
me see what I can find out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Open space hunting. Brad, was that your question? The open space on the hunting, Brad?
Yeah, I'd gotten an email from Chief Hummer this month. A resident had approached Chief, and Chief, I'll let, if you have any more to add, just, obviously add into it. But, we own the property up off of New Village Road, which I believe, and I'm not positive, I think that's Green Acres. But anyway, it's the one up off New Village, and the resident was asking about hunting on there, being that it's township owned land. And I don't know that we even have a response, if we have a ordinance. I just don't know. So I don't know.
Where again, Brad? Up by New Village? Is that what you're talking about?
I believe that's the property that was in question.
That's the
Chief,
D'Angelo property.
if you could clarify that. Can you unmute, Chief?
Yep.
Yes, at the top of New Village Road, you're correct.
Okay.
That's the one, just to kind of refresh everyone, right now, we haven't done anything with it, and the Open Space Committee has talked about putting like some sort of walking trail, not paved or anything, at some point up there. Nothing's been done with it, to my knowledge. So it's it's not in any kind of active use at the moment. If it was obviously to go into some sort of active recreation use, that would perhaps change our viewpoint on this. But while it's not in active use, it's something, just for discussion, that's all. I don't know what the position is. I don't know, Mike Lavery, if counselor, if what the typical, is for this, if there's any other.
I know this issue's come up before with Green Acres, open space, and I was talking to Lisa about this earlier today, and I'll go check. I've done the research before, and the Green Acres restrictions, I can't remember if they permit it or they prohibit it. And
Yeah, as far as I know, it's prohibited.
Yeah.
I thought we went through this about 3 years ago and it was prohibited, yes.
Yeah, so there's standard Green Acres restrictions, so I could confirm that, which would make it easy. So
Yeah. I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah. I will confirm that, though, committee.
So, Mike, let me ask you a question in a related sense. So if that's on Green Acres, so what if it's farmland preservation?
I believe
allowed to allow hunting on farmland preservation?
I think you can.
Okay.
I
I wanted to clarify because that was my understanding. Farmland preservation, the farmer can allow hunting, but I didn't know if Green Acres, if the township could allow hunting.
The town could allow hunting on town-owned property if you didn't take Green Acres funding. But if we took Green Acres, and then the other issue that I got to clarify, as most of you know, once you take Green Acres funding for one piece of open space, everything else is locked down in your Rossi, and those same restrictions are going to apply whether you took Green Acres to obtain that property or not. So it's going to pretty much lock up all of your open space. Farmland preservation is different, and I can confirm that as well, that you can, but I'm pretty sure that you're permitted to hunt on that property.
Okay.
Okay. Are we done with that?
That was
issue
it.
then? Okay.
That was it. Yeah, just it sounds like it's a non-issue in the sense that I guess the answer to the resident is no, we can't allow hunting there. It's prohibited.
Okay. Kite event. Lisa, do you know anything about it?
I think actually Joe had given this. Someone had contacted him. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. It is in your packet.
Isn't this amateur? It's the amateur radio group, isn't it?
Yeah, ham radio operators. Yep.
Yeah. They wanted an event there, and they were going to use a kite to raise the antenna, or something like that, right?
Yes. Apparently, they can reach other radio operators overseas if they raise and it's in honor of, I guess, it's the 112th anniversary of Marconi doing the transatlantic.
So what are they looking for? Like a one-day permit?
I guess they just wanted authorization.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. For one day
What's
permit.
the authorization for to fly the kite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we look? So I'll make the motion. I'm making a motion to allow them to raise a kite with the antenna on it.
And I guess they're going to have people there, but they'll be socially distanced, the letter says, and then they're going to invite the public, but they have to be socially distanced. They'll make sure they're socially distanced as well. So I would say whatever we normally require, if you're going to, I think they want to use the pavilion, right? As part of this, Lisa?
Yeah, next
So our
around the
usual
pavilion.
open space has a permit for that. So they have to provide proof of insurance and that type of stuff.
Right.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we allow them to do this for the day. Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Any other questions or comments?
What do they do if there's no wind?
Pardon?
I said, what do they do if there is no wind? How do they raise the antenna? Do they get a drone?
They're a big fan.
I don't know if I've ever seen no wind at that park, though.
I mean, enough wind, let's put it that way, to fly a kite. If they use a drone, I mean, it would,
I guess.
In favor? All in favor, aye. All in favor, aye.
If they can use a balloon, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Is everybody eye there? Did you get enough eyes for a pass there, Lisa?
I got it.
Okay.
Around the
Okay,
world in 80 days.
On their old business, I just want to bring up old files real quick. Lisa and Tammy and the road department, everything, they worked pretty hard earlier this month. And I think Lisa especially is proud to say that she's gotten rid of most of all the old files from the old school and everything. And we got rid of a lot of things that have been sitting around for a lot of years that we didn't need. So good job, Lisa, there. And please extend that to Tammy and whoever else helped you. And
I
slowly
definitely
but
will.
surely we're cleaning up 25 years worth of a mess, I guess, in many ways here. So, but thanks. Okay, Lee Farm update. You have anything, Mike?
yeah, Joe Bell said that they will be preparing the deed to transfer the Lee Farm to the township. So I'll keep you apprised of any progress on that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. Firehouse, Brad or Paul or Joe?
Oh,
Somebody?
Joe, did we get anything from your engineers?
No, I did not get anything from the building people and stuff. He said it would take a good 5 to 6 weeks to change the plans over. That's where we stand. So
Okay.
hopefully next month we'll get something.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. The only other thing under old business I have is the Christmas party. We pretty much had to cancel that with the number of people allowed inside dining, like 10. So Christmas party's pretty much been canceled for this year. I think Lisa's working on getting some type of a small gift to give to everyone that would have been invited. Pretty much, right? Or,
Yeah. Or something.
I'd recommend face masks. So
I was looking at those,
No,
Brad.
Now, you know how Lisa is. It's a gift, but it's also a gift that's going to save us money in the long run. She's hopeful.
it's
So
practical, right?
it's
a practical
frugal
gift.
and practical. So, but thanks again, Lisa. Okay, correspondence. We have anything major?
Nothing additional that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I did just want to say, Bob, I think I had told possibly you and Brad, but we did receive our final checks for both of the auctions. So, and also all the settlement paperwork and everything from Mike Lavery's office. Thanks for their work on that. And thanks, Brad, for the push for the auction.
Yeah, Brad, that was, you really pushed for that and got that moving along. So, okay.
Yeah, now the school is no longer our property.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Good
It took
job,
20
Brad.
Yeah,
20-something years, but we did it, right?
yeah.
Brad.
Hey,
Yeah.
I had, Bob, before we go to public comment, I had one other thing I just wanted to acknowledge, which is Joe and Mike. I know Mike's not here, Mike Finelli. With the road work that was done, Dumont's finished, Rick Line, and the additional road work that was done on Strunk's Lane and the continuation of Water Tower. I mean, all the roads, including everything that was done at Pacesetter earlier in Washington Street, they all really came out nice. And I just want to acknowledge all the work that was done there and how much was done. I don't know what the final tally is, Joe, but mileage wise, but I got to say that was probably one of our bigger years of road work that we've had in the township. So I just want to say thank you for, and I know especially Joe for, working some magic there to get Strunk's Lane and the rest of the Water Tower Road, because that wasn't on our plan this year, but he did it and it made sense to do it because of all the other work that was done. So I just want to say thank you. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I agree with everything. Anybody else have any follow-up or comment on that? But yeah, it was a good year for roads. And so, okay. I'll make a motion. We open public comment. Anybody want a second?
Just one, I have one question for Joe before.
Okay.
Joe, the signs for the motorized vehicles, did you
Yes,
get them in?
they're in my garage. Hopefully
All right,
next
cool.
week when I'm back to work, we'll get them up.
Thank you, Joe. Okay.
Joe,
You're welcome.
when you put those up, make sure you don't use a motorized vehicle.
How many months does Brad have left? I'm gonna miss that.
I know, me too.
Brad, you know what, Brad, I'm gonna miss that a lot.
I'm gonna go sit on my drums and I'm gonna do the rat-a-tat.
Oh, okay.
I'll be sure to keep you in the waiting room.
Use these in motorized vehicle, put them up behind you, Joe, and go the opposite way so you can say you never saw them.
You gotta be out there on a bicycle.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion we open public comment. Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm muting. Unmute everybody.
Nobody? Come on, Brian Baylor, don't you want to say something? Trash us?
Yeah, I didn't unmute Brian.
You gotta unmute him.
Where you're gonna be up front getting yelled at. Take your last shot now.
I just want to thank everyone for all the, time that you put into the town and the commitment. It doesn't go unnoticed, and you guys are doing great. And Brad, definitely gonna miss, not being able to work with you. Hopefully, in some capacity, we'll be able to meet up and work together. But thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Anybody else in the public? That was awful nice, Brian. You should have really taken your shot now, because like I said, in January. Okay. And nothing else, Frank? Doesn't look like anybody else is on?
Anybody else? Vicky,
I'll make a
nothing? All
motion.
right,
I'll make a
Nobody
motion to
else.
close public comment.
close public comment.
I'll
Second,
make a motion to close. Anybody want a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye.
aye.
Anybody else have anything else they need to discuss, want to bring up or say before we adjourn, I guess?
Very good run meeting, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, thanks. You all stay safe. We're back into a pretty tough time, so let's all try to stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see one another month again, or have a good night. Looking forward to adjourn. Anybody want to make the motion?
Motion
I'll
to
make it.
adjourn.
A second.
Motion
Anybody
to
want a second?
adjourn.
Yep, okay, it's made. Please. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good
night.
night.
Great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Thanks.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.